Welcome back to CoinQuest. Have you ever looked through your pocket change and wondered if that old penny you found might be worth more than just 1 cent? If so, you are not alone. In this video, we are going to explore the fascinating story of the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny, also known as the 1939 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent coin. This coin might look ordinary to the untrained eye, but some of them could be worth far more than face value. In fact, they could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars depending on a few critical details. Let's dive into the history and the hidden value of this remarkable coin that millions of Americans carried in their pockets nearly a century ago. Soft background music begins. The Lincoln 1-cent coin was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It marked the first time in American history that a real person, and especially a president, was featured on a circulating U.S. coin. The design was created by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VB you may see on some earlier issues. The reverse of the coin from 1909 through 1958 featured 2 wheat ears, giving the coin its nickname, the Lincoln wheat penny. Now let's fast forward to the year 1939. The United States was still recovering from the Great Depression, and while the world was moving toward another global conflict, everyday Americans continued to use these Lincoln pennies in their daily lives. The 1939 Lincoln cent was struck in 3 different locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can identify these mint marks below the date: no mark for Philadelphia, a small D for Denver, and a small S for San Francisco. Now here's where things get interesting for collectors. Not all 1939 pennies are created equal. While hundreds of millions were minted, only a small percentage survive today in pristine condition. Even fewer contain rare errors or varieties that can dramatically increase their value. Let's start with the most common version, the 1939 Lincoln penny from the Philadelphia Mint. Over 316 million were produced, and in circulated condition, this coin is usually worth only a few cents to maybe $1 or $2. However, if you happen to have one in uncirculated condition, meaning it has no wear and still has its original luster, then you might be looking at values of $10 or more. Coins graded MS-65 or Mint State 65 can fetch as much as $30 to $50 depending on the buyer and market demand. Next, the 1939 D Lincoln penny. With over 15 million minted in Denver, this version is a bit scarcer. Like the Philadelphia coin, its value in circulated condition is typically less than $1. But in mint state condition, collectors are willing to pay a premium. High-grade 1939 D cents can sell for $50 to $100 or more. One particularly rare 1939 D penny graded MS-67 red by a top grading service has sold for over $400 at auction. Now for the most sought-after of the trio, the 1939 S penny from the San Francisco Mint. With a mintage of about 52 million, it falls between the other two in terms of rarity. Again, most circulated examples are worth a few cents, but uncirculated versions can bring in anywhere from $20 to over $100, especially if they display rich red color and sharp details. A superb gem MS-67 red 1939S has sold for over $500 in some auctions, but the real treasures lie in the errors and varieties. Some 1939 pennies show double diobverse, a type of mint error where the design appears doubled. If you spot doubling on the date or the lettering such as Liberty or In God We Trust, you may be holding a much more valuable coin. Some verified double die examples have sold for hundreds of dollars. Another rare variety is the repunched mint mark, commonly abbreviated as RPM. This happens when the mint mark is stamped more than once, slightly off from the first strike. 1939 D RPM pennies have been identified and can command values over $50 to $100 or more depending on grade and clarity of the error. Now let's talk about the current market as of 2025. Coin collecting is enjoying a resurgence, with increased interest thanks to online marketplaces and social media. This means more eyes are hunting for rare coins, and prices are reflecting that. While common 1939 pennies are still affordable, those in high grades or with rare errors are consistently gaining value. For example, in recent online auctions, a certified MS-67 red 1939 Lincoln cent sold for over $750. Another rare double die version crossed the $1,000 mark. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1939 penny? First, check the date and the mint mark. Look closely using a magnifying glass to see if there is any doubling, strange marks, or signs of errors. If you suspect you have something rare, consider sending it to a professional grading service such as PCGS or NGC. A certified grade not only verifies its authenticity and quality, but can dramatically increase the value when you decide to sell. Also, remember that condition is everything. A shiny, uncirculated coin with bright red luster is far more valuable than a dark, worn penny. Store your coins in a dry, cool place, preferably in holders that protect them from damage. In summary, the 1939 Lincoln wheat penny is more than just a coin. It is a piece of American history, a symbol of perseverance, and in some cases, a valuable collector's item. Whether you are new to coin collecting or a seasoned enthusiast, it is worth checking your old coins. You never know when a tiny copper penny might turn out to be a small fortune. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want more content about rare coins, coin values, and collecting tips, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Let us know in the comments if you have any 1939 pennies or rare coins in your collection. We'd love to hear your story. Until next time, keep searching, keep collecting, and who knows, the next treasure might be hiding in your change jar. Today we're diving deep into one of the most fascinating coins in American history, the 1944 Lincoln 1-cent penny. This little copper coin might look ordinary at first glance, but some rare versions of it could be hiding in your collection worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So stay tuned as we uncover the hidden treasures behind the 1944 wheat penny. Let's start with a little background. The Lincoln cent has been minted since 1909, and the wheat penny design was produced until 1958. During World War II, the U.S. Mint faced a major shortage of copper because it was being used for ammunition and military supplies. As a result, in 1943, the Mint produced pennies made of zinc-coated steel. These are the famous 1943 steel cents, which have a shiny silver-like appearance. But here's where it gets interesting. In 1944, the Mint switched back to using copper for penny production. But not just any copper. They used leftover brass shell casings from the war effort. This resulted in the 1944 wheat pennies having a slightly different alloy than pre-war cents, mostly copper with a trace amount of zinc. That makes 1944 pennies a little different, but not necessarily rare. So why are we talking about them? Because of a rare and valuable mistake. During the minting transition from steel back to copper, a few 1944 pennies were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943. These rare error coins are known as the 1944 steel cents, and they are extremely valuable. Fewer than 40 are known to exist across all U.S. Mint locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Now let's talk value. A regular 1944 copper penny in average circulated condition is worth about 3 to 10 cents. In uncirculated condition, it can fetch around $1 to $5 depending on its grade and mint mark. But if you're holding a 1944 steel penny, you could be looking at a life-changing coin. One 1944 steel cent from the Philadelphia Mint sold at auction for over $100,000. In fact, some examples in pristine condition have sold for over $200,000. Imagine finding that in your change JAR.SO. How do you tell if your 1944 penny is steel or copper? Here's a quick test. Use a magnet. Copper is not magnetic, but steel is. If your 1944 penny sticks to a magnet, you may have something truly rare. But be careful. Some counterfeit coins exist. Always have rare coins authenticated by a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. There are also valuable 1944 pennies with other errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, and clipped planchets. These types of errors can also add significant value depending on their rarity and condition. Always check your coins carefully, especially those from the World War II era. Let's also talk about mint marks. 1944 pennies were minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver marked with a small d, and San Francisco marked with an S. While none of these are particularly rare in copper-form, coins in mint state condition with full red luster can still fetch high premiums among collectors. A high-grade 1944D penny, for example, might sell for $50 to $100 or more depending on its certification. So to recap, a standard 1944 copper penny is common, but can still have value, especially in uncirculated grades. But a 1944 steel penny, now that's the coin you really want to find. If you come across a magnetic 1944 cent, don't spend it. Get it authenticated immediately. Before we wrap up, here's a fun tip. Go through old coin jars, your grandparents' collection, even garage sales and flea markets. Many people don't realize what they have, and some of these rare coins can slip through the cracks. Keep a magnet handy and a sharp eye on the date and color of the coin. If you learned something new today, hit that like button and subscribe for more videos on coin collecting, rare currency, and hidden treasures you might have sitting at home. Drop a comment if you've ever found a rare penny, or if you want us to cover a specific coin next. Thanks for watching, and as always, happy hunting. Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating history and current market value of a seemingly ordinary coin that might just be hiding in your pocket change. We're talking about the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny, also known as the 1951 1-cent coin featuring President Abraham Lincoln. While it might look like just another old penny, this little copper coin can be worth a surprising amount of money depending on its condition, mint mark, and unique characteristics. So sit back, relax, and let's explore why this humble 1951 Lincoln cent is attracting attention from coin collectors across the country. Let's start with a little history. The Lincoln wheat penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. For over 50 years, the reverse side featured 2 simple wheat ears, giving the coin its popular nickname, the wheat penny. The 1951 version was part of the final decade of wheat penny production before the switch to the Lincoln Memorial design in 1959. While millions were minted in 1951, the true value lies in the details, and that's where things get exciting. The 1951 Lincoln wheat penny was minted in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. You can tell where your coin was minted by checking just below the date on the front. If there is no letter, it was minted in Philadelphia. If there's a small d, it's from Denver. And if there's an S, then your coin came from San Francisco. Now, how many were made? The Philadelphia Mint produced over 284 million of these coins. Denver struck around 625 million, and San Francisco contributed over 136 million. In total, that's over 1 billion pennies made in 1951. But here's the catch: not all of them survived in top condition. And those that did? They can be worth far more than 1 cent. Let's break down the values. A 1951 penny in well-worn, circulated condition is generally worth around 3 to 10 cents. That may not sound like much, but if your coin is in better condition, say, in uncirculated or mint state, then the value can increase significantly. Mint state coins, often referred to as MS-grade coins, are those that have never been used in commerce. They retain their original luster, color, and detail. A 1951 penny in MS-63 red condition can sell for around $10 to $20. If it grades higher, say MS-65 or even MS-66, prices can reach between $50 and $200 or more, especially for the Denver and San Francisco issues. But it gets even better. There are rare cases where coins in nearly perfect condition, with bright red color and sharp details, have sold at auction for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. One example is a 1951 penny graded MS-67 red that sold for over $1,000 due to its rarity and pristine condition. Coins like this are extremely rare, but they do exist, and collectors are willing to pay top dollar for them. Now, let's talk about errors. Error coins are some of the most exciting and valuable pieces in the coin world. And yes, the 1951 Lincoln penny has a few known varieties that can increase its value dramatically. Some examples include double die errors, off-center strikes, and repunched mint marks. A double die penny is one where the design elements appear doubled due to a misalignment during the minting process. These coins are highly sought after by collectors. Depending on the clarity and severity of the doubling, values can range from $50 to several $100s or more. Another key thing to look out for is the color of the coin. Collectors categorize copper pennies by color: red, red-brown, and brown. Red coins are the most desirable, as they retain their original copper luster from the day they were minted. Red-brown coins show some fading, while brown coins have aged completely. Naturally, red coins command the highest prices. So what should you do if you think you have a valuable 1951 penny? First, don't clean it. Cleaning a coin, even with the best intentions, can destroy its value. Second, use a magnifying glass or coin loupe to inspect for mint marks, errors, and wear. Then, consider having your coin professionally graded by a trusted service like PCGS or NGC. These grading companies evaluate the coin's authenticity, condition, and overall quality, which helps establish its market value. Now let's take a look at current market trends. In 2025, coin collecting is hotter than ever. With rising interest in tangible assets and nostalgic collectibles, vintage coins, like the 1951 Lincoln penny, are gaining attention not just from hobbyists, but also from investors. The demand for high-grade and error varieties is pushing prices upward. Auction records show consistent growth in value for mint state and rare error coins, and some collectors are paying hundreds or even thousands for the right penny. It may be just 1 cent, but to a collector, that coin could be a treasure. To sum it up, the 1951 Lincoln wheat penny is more than just pocket change. It's a piece of American history. Whether you have a worn old coin or a shiny red gem, it's worth checking your collection. You might just be sitting on a hidden gem. Keep an eye out for mint marks, check for errors, and if you're lucky enough to have a high-grade piece, get it graded and appraised, because your 1 cent coin might just be worth a lot of money. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your fellow coin enthusiasts. Have a 1951 penny or another coin you'd like us to cover? Drop a comment below. Until next time, happy collecting and keep hunting for hidden treasures. Today we're diving deep into one of the most iconic pennies in American history, the 1958 Lincoln wheat cent. At first glance, it might seem like just another old penny you'd find at the bottom of a jar or tucked away in your grandparents' drawer. But some of these coins are worth more than just 1 cent. In fact, some versions of the 1958 penny have been sold for thousands and even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Before we talk about the value, let's take a step back in time and understand why this little coin holds such a big place in the hearts of collectors. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of President Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it was the first U.S. coin to feature a real person's face. It was a bold move back then, and it marked the beginning of a new era for American coinage. Now fast forward to 1958. This was the final year of what's known as the wheat reverse, the classic design on the back of the coin that features two stalks of wheat arching along the sides with the words 1 cent and United States of America in the middle. The very next year in 1959, the mint would replace the wheat design with a Lincoln Memorial reverse to mark the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Because 1958 marked the end of an era, this year's pennies are already more interesting to collectors. But there's something even more exciting about this year's issue, and that's the 1958 double die penny. The famous 1958 double die obverse penny is one of the rarest and most valuable error coins in all of American numismatics. In simple terms, a double die happens when the die, the stamp used to press the image onto a coin, is engraved twice, slightly off alignment. As a result, you see doubling on the letters or numbers, which gives the coin a unique and highly desirable error. Only 3 confirmed examples of the 1958 double die penny are known to exist today. That's right, just 3. This makes it even rarer than the 1909 SVDB, the 1914 D, or even the 1943 copper penny. In 2018, one of these ultra-rare 1958 double die pennies sold at auction for over $100,000. And the value has only gone up since then. In today's market, as of 2025, collectors and investors alike are willing to pay upwards of $200,000 for one in pristine condition, especially if it's certified and graded by a reputable service like PCGS or NGC. Now you might be wondering, how do you know if you have a valuable 1958 penny? Most 1958 pennies are common, especially those made in Philadelphia, which don't have a mint mark. Over 250 million of these were minted. Denver, on the other hand, minted over 800 million 1958 D pennies. So regular coins from either mint are usually only worth face value or a few cents in circulated condition. But if you have a coin in mint state, especially MS65 or higher, it could be worth more. Mint state coins are those that haven't been used in everyday circulation. They still have their original luster, no scratches or wear, and they look almost as fresh as the day they were struck. A regular 1958 penny in MS65 condition might sell for $15 to $20. A 1958 D in the same condition could go for $10 to $15. If you happen to have one that's been graded MS67 or higher, the value jumps significantly, sometimes even crossing the $100 mark for the right buyer. But the real treasure is in the details. The key is spotting the doubling. If you notice that the words Liberty or In God We Trust or the date 1958 look thicker, shadowed, or doubled, especially on the obverse, which is the front side of the coin, you might be looking at a double die. If that's the case, don't clean it, don't handle it too much, and definitely don't spend it. Get it examined by a professional coin grading service immediately. Even if you don't have the rare double die, 1958 Lincoln wheat cents are still a nostalgic and historical piece of American money. They're affordable to collect, easy to find in old collections, and they represent the closing chapter of one of the most beloved coin designs in U.S. history. So whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just starting out, keep your eyes peeled. That old penny might be worth more than you think. And if you're lucky enough to find one of the legendary 1958 double die pennies, you could be holding a small fortune in your hand. That's all for today's deep dive into the 1958 Lincoln penny. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the bell icon for more content about rare coins, their history, and their hidden value. Share your coin stories in the comments below. Who knows, maybe someone here has found a gem in their change jar. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting.